Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
You know, of all the things you could be doing tonight, a summer league. Who's playing in this summer league game?
It's Lakers and who's playing in this summer league?
It was Bron. So basically, you're doing it because it's Bronny James.
Yes, that's.
So just say that then, or we're doing Bronny.
Yeah, I'm doing
Bronny might be the best G League player going.
I forgot who it is, but you know, just so we clear, Danny Green played in the G League. Lynn Sanity played in the G League. So I mean,
so you're comparing Bronny James to Jeremy Lin and Danny Green?
Yes, I'm comparing him to other G League players who persevered, because everybody thinks that because you go to the G League like it's a demotion. I don't think that the G League is used nearly as much as it should be. And I don't think the NBA showcases these players that they have in the G League as much as they should. I don't think that they develop these guys that they have in the G League as much as they should. We so wrapped up in guys in college and we wrapped up in free agency. Meanwhile, you got a two guard here that's 21 years old, that's been in the G League for the last 2 years that you're developing. Why is he not moving up? Like, what's going on with him? And by the way, he's turning into a damn good player. Like, you got that going on. You got these affiliates, the Miami Heat. I mean, that's where they had Max Strus, and their team is in South Dakota. So they're clearly developing talent. I just don't think that the NBA uses these teams. I don't think that they use the G League nearly as much as they could. Because I look at the G League as exactly that, as a developmental league, like what they do in Major League Baseball, where the example I always use is Derek Jeter, where, you know, Derek Jeter is on the disabled list for 15 days. Well, he doesn't get put right back in the lineup when he comes back. He goes to AAA in Trenton to get some reps in. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. He needs to do that. So a lot of times when these dudes in the NBA, when they end up not playing for a month, I don't understand why, you know, not going to their G League affiliate and getting some run and getting them back acclimated wouldn't help. I don't see how that wouldn't help. And on top of that, when you got a player in the G League that's turning into something, why wouldn't you continue to develop him and then call him up? I don't get that. I think Bronny James, the reason why there's this stigma around him because of his father.
Oh yeah, of course. If his name was Joe Smith, we're having a completely different conversation. However, you took the words out of my mouth a little bit there. I was hoping you were going to cut off so I can jump in and say how Major League Baseball does it. The difference is, however, Major League Baseball can draft you out of high school and develop you through single A, double A, triple A, and, you know, through their farm system. And I'm starting to think that might be where basketball's going to start to go.
That'd be great.
And you're going to see people getting drafted earlier. And because here's the thing. College, Europe, all of them, what is their primary goal?
To get to the NBA.
No, not the players. I'm talking about the leagues. The NCAA, Europe, what is their primary goal?
Oh, it's about bread, no doubt about that.
It's about the money.
Yeah, it's about bread.
And so if our goal is to make money, which means we need to win games, right?
Sure.
That's it. Those are how the two things go together.
Yep.
Make money. How do we make money? We win games. So what emphasis is put on developing players? None. So why not make the G League like the farm system for the NBA, which is kind of what it's supposed to be? And instead of making it like you're not good enough to go play in a G League, make it what it really is. Have coaches in there who are there to develop players. And I know this is going to sound blasphemous. Don't make it about the wins and losses as much. Make it about developing players and understanding that developing the player means you're going to lose them. to the big team, which is going to make your G League team worse, and that's okay. Because take a look at one of the teams that I think used the G League better than anybody else, and that's the Toronto Raptors. Right? If you look at the 905, there was 2 or 3 year stretch there where they dominated the G League and won the G League championship.
When they went in there like every year for like 2 or 3 years straight.
Yeah. And guess what came out of that? Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, to name a few. Right? So that was, in fact, a couple of years back, there's a player now who's probably going to not see in the league. Now, he had health issues, but even before that, Christian Koloko, a center who ended up with the Lakers, when he was with the Raptors, they were kind of bouncing him back and forth. Everyone was like, oh, why are they doing that? Because it's a good farm system to make him better because he wasn't good enough. And he complained about it, and they shipped him off. However, again, barring the health issues, had he stayed, you'd have a legit 7 foot, 6'10", whatever he is, 6'11" center that had skill. And so I don't think they use that as that. And like you said, they people look at it as a downside, like a two-way contract. No, get your game up, come into the NBA ready, because if you have that skill set and those fundamentals that the other guys who just like got there on their athleticism you're going to be a step ahead of them, because there comes a point when the athleticism starts to fade and you need to know those other things. And we don't have that today, because it's go to college, make money, win games, go to wherever, Australia, Europe, whatever, win games, make money, make a name for myself, come back here. So let's use the developmental league for what it is, a developmental league. And look, I use Christian Koloko as an example. I'm not saying that he would have been a star. All I'm saying is he would have had a better chance of being a serviceable big if he went through that system that has proven to create players. And to your point, when guys are hurt, let's have them run a couple games back and kind of ease their way back into it just to make sure. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, some are, some can just jump back in depending on the injury. But like you said, if you've been out for a month or something,
and the team's on the road for 2 weeks, or the team's on the road for 5 days, and I can't really get any run because I'm home. I mean, the Golden State Warriors are a prime example. Santa Cruz ain't that far from San Francisco, so there's nothing for me to go down to Santa Cruz and hang out with those guys for a week or 2 weeks and get back sharp again. But we're so worried about the product and guys getting hurt, which I've always felt like, if that's your mentality, if you think you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get hurt. I've never bought into that whole thing. But what I saw in the limited amount of time that I saw Bronny James play in the G League last year, what it looked to me like if he was in school, this is what he would have been doing. If he was at USC, if he stayed at USC, he would have been in the Big Ten. He would have been a 14 to 17 a game guy. He would have ended up making the All Big Ten team, and we would have been talking about him as a first-round pick, like we were previous to him coming out, right? But now he's in the G League, and just watching him in the Summer League, just for the limited time that I've seen, one, he's gotten stronger. That's a development. His game looks like it's getting sharper. I think that I still think we're another year or 2 years away from him being a major contributor on a team. I don't think we're there yet, Tone. I'm not one of these people that's like, yo, he's starting next. No. I still think we another year, probably 2 years away from him being a major contributor. But Tone, I'm telling you, I'm not on the fence about this, and I didn't wane on this. I think he's going to play 12 years in the league. I do. I do.
That's a hot take. I'm gonna clip that and switch into everybody's loving the thumbnail for today's episode. I took a lot of time to create Kevin Durant ducking, if you get it, ducking.
I do get that.
I love it because it's funny. And look, people are gonna get mad and people say, Fluent, you're a KD hater. You know what I am? I'm a guy who's cool with making fun of millionaires and billionaires because, like, you know what? They should be able to laugh it off. However, I would like to understand the series of events. So Kevin Durant, no, first of all, you guys have an episode on the show, and you're talking about Nikola Jokic, and I guess versus Kevin Durant, their offensive games. Is that correct?
I posed the question. I had posed a question about the conversation started with us talking about offensive players and their peaks, and we were talking about Kevin Durant being in Houston and what he was going to bring, how much better he was going to be for that offense, and that transitioned into some of the best offensive players in the game.
Yeah,
and then it transitioned to, well, how good is Kevin Durant as an offensive player? Because we also had the conversation right in between that with KD being a better offensive player. He clears Anthony Davis as an offensive player. I thought he was better than Anthony Davis as an offensive player.
yeah.
I was
agree.
thinking to myself, I was thinking clears might be a bit of a stretch, but I do think that there's a gap between those two guys.
I think when people say clear, they just mean like there's little debate, right? Even though it might be close, there's not that much debate. And I think most people would agree Kevin Durant is a better offensive player than Anthony Davis.
And we all agreed, because when I said when that was the conversation, and I was like, well, clears, I don't know if I love that word, but I think that I think there's a gap between him and Anthony Davis, 100%. So we went on about that, and then Swiper was talking about the better offensive players in the game, and I posed the question. I said, KD at his best, is he a better offensive player than Joker? All of a sudden, it's like I asked, who took the money, and I got a whole bunch of people around. Like, okay, I'm just asking a simple question, and all of a sudden, this thing turns into something completely different. And then and
to be clear, offensive player, so not scorer,
not bucket getter,
offensive player. So the complete offensive game.
Yes,
meaning so that people understand when we say the complete offensive game, we're talking about facilitating, passing, playmaking, obviously scoring, but shooting, post up, offensive rebounding, setting screens, like the whole gamut, off ball, on ball, everything
around the rim, playing in the post, playing in the mid post. How do you find guys when you get double teamed? How do you fit in the offense? How much better are you in the offense? All of that stuff is conducive to being the best offensive player, a better offensive player. So we go from that.
And collectively, and all of you said Jokic over KD as a complete offensive player.
Yes.
That peak versus peak.
Yes. Peak versus peak. I think Joker is a better offensive player than KD. Better bucket getter? No. But better offensive player. And this is where things get tricky, because I think that when you say, like, for example, KD, because what I said was, just because you're better than me for example, as a point guard, and I said that I think that Steph Curry is a better player than John Stockton. I think John Stockton is a better point guard than Steph Curry.
And when you say better point guard, you mean better traditional point?
better league guard. I think Curry is a better player than him.
Sure.
But when I say that this guy is better than you, there are things that I'm better than you in this specific thing. You might be better than me overall, but there are some things. And that's how the conversation got with KD and Joker. Okay, well, KD is a better bucket getter than Joker, and Joker is a bucket getter. But we get so wrapped up in KD being a bucket getter that's the end all be all, and it's like, well, wait a minute.
Listen, I get it, because one, it is the most important thing, right? Like I argue with people all the time, and it drives me nuts that I have to have this argument, right? Scoring is the most important thing, and everyone's like, no, it's not. No, it is. Right. I don't know if I told you about this back and forth I had with these two people, because they had an Angel Reese agenda, and they're like, rebounding is the most important thing, because it's a change of possession and you can't fast break without rebounding. And I'm like, really? Because isn't a block could be a change of possession and lead to a fast break? Can't a steal isn't a steal a change of possession and a lead to a fast break? And I said, let me ask you a question. I have this stat, and I say it all the time, half joking, half because it's true. 100% of games are won by the team that scores the most points.
There's no debating that.
Undisputable.
Zero. There's no debating that. None
Does
whatsoever.
The team that gets the most rebounds win every single game? And the answer is no.
No, they don't.
Undisputable. So I had this whole back and forth with, you're confusing like when I say scoring's the most important thing, what's up? When I say it's the most important, I'm not saying it's the only, like, people have this like 0 or 100, when basketball lives in that 2 to 99 range, or 1 to 99 range. And I just keep saying it's the most important, because and that's what we look at. right? Like every time you say who's a better player, what's the first thing people talk about? Look how many points. Look how many points he scored.
Buckets.
How can John Stockton be a better point guard? He averages 13 points a game. Steph averages 20. It's impossible. And it's like, well, hold on. That's
a part of it. That's not all of it. That's
right.
only that. And it's not that it's a small part of it, because it is some of it. But there's so many aspects that go into getting buckets. With that being said, Tone.
So you all agreed. So you all agreed that,
yes, we all agreed
over KD. So then, how does it end up on Twitter? Does he respond to one of the clips?
You know your man got rabbit ears, Tone. You know your man got rabbit ears. So with him having rabbit ears, he says in the Twitter post, and I didn't see it until later. It was Ron who had brought it to the group that he was in the Twitter post. He said, "I need to pull up and drop my verse. It'll go. I need to pull up to the panel and drop my verse. It'll go platinum." Well, when we hear that, immediately, then the invitation is on the table. My man, come through.
Right, as it should be.
So it looks like, okay, we got a deal, right? He's coming through, Tone. And it was supposed to happen on Friday, but there was something that ended up happening, and we got the link wrong, so he couldn't make it. But all weekend, him and Swiper, they're conversating. This is happening, Tone. This is going on, right? So come Monday, I mean, he's on the thumbnail. Come Monday, I'm thinking, all right, we got KD. Well, turns out we don't have KD, because KD, he has some Houston stuff that he has to handle on Monday. But he'd like to come to the show at some point. I was like, we right here. We not.
I found. Sorry, I got word. I found some of his what did you call it? Houston stuff.
Yes,
I found it. Here it is.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
And yeah. I don't think. See, unlike my man over here, I don't think he was ducking. Like he did have
100%. He was ducking, and here's why. And here's why.
Please enlighten me on this.
Okay, one, he's a bold-faced liar. He's a bold-faced liar because he said, "I don't know who PC is." Well, that's a lie, because we all know he is friends with Del or whatever his full name is. Del James. I don't know his full name. I don't need to know his full. Delroy James. Okay. Him and Delroy are friends. They communicate. They text. They talk. Who's one of the OGs of Player's Choice?
Del.
Okay. And then I saw a picture of him and Shaq McKissick, arms around each other, chatting it up. Who's the founder of Player's Choice? You don't think Shaq said anything about Player's Choice when he was chilling with KD?
He watches the show, Tone. Let's cut the shit.
I'm getting to that. Don't steal the damn thunder.
I apologize.
So Shaq clearly told him about, hey, I'm doing this Player's Choice thing, right? Hey, pull up, because that's how Shaq is. Okay, that's number two. Number three, he got into it with Lowe on a Twitter Spaces, which, by the way, shame on you, Lowe, for backing down. I think you punked out a little bit on that one. You got a little celebrity struck, I think, but that's okay. That's okay. It happens. It happens.
Yes, he pulled up on Lowe, by the way.
He pulled up on Lowe, exactly. And where did he know Lowe from? He knew Lowe from Player's Choice.
Sure.
Because he was a regular at that time. Number four on the agenda. He communicates with Swiper, who's on the show every day. You don't think Swiper ever said, he just said, I just do my own thing? He never said, yeah, I'm on Player's Choice every day, 11 till 2. Give me a break. And then on top of that, he's watching. I
think he watches the show.
We know many players and coaches and people who, like, some say they watch, some say they don't, but we know
they do.
They do. Because how many times have they referenced, like, even our show's not nearly as big as the panel, because it's on so much more on a bigger platform. But even us, we had an interview that got picked up and put on ESPN.
By the way, we delivered Shaq. Let's put that out there. We did. We did do that. When Tone put the thumbnail out.
Yeah, y'all called me. Y'all said it was clickbait.
When Tone put the thumbnail out. Big fella did pull up. So.
Shaq Twice Shaq pulled up to our show, and ESPN pulled up and used one of his quotes. And you know what? Respect to ESPN, because a lot of people did it and didn't do this. They tagged us in it, and they said via the Fluent and Chill. So that I appreciate ESPN doing that, because some others, Bleacher Report, I'm going to call you guys out. What's the other one? The Athletic. They all used the code too and didn't say shit about us. That's cool. But that's cool. It's cool. Like, you do what you got to do. So they're watching. So he's watching. So that's why so to my point about him ducking. So you damn well know the show. You know what the show's about. You know that the show will bring on people and they will not go easy on you, right? They're not giving you guys aren't going to give them a pass, nor should you. Now, respectful, you have a guest. Okay, fine. But here's where I 100% say, I'm a duck, quack, quack, quack. It's a song. I wrote a song. Do you know that I wrote a song for my kids?
No, I didn't.
It's a kid's song that's going to be released. It goes. I'm not going to sing it, but I'll say the words. It's I'm a duck, quack, quack, quack. I'm a duck, quack, quack, quack. If you're ever feeling out of luck, I'm a duck. Oh no, just call on me because I'm your duck, quack, quack, quack. It's pretty. It's a good kid's song. We're doing a video and we're gonna release it soon. But that being said, why I say he's a duck, or why he's ducking, singing the song. Swiper's texting with him and says, "What works for you? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday." And he says, the last possible one, yeah, I'll be there Monday. Mm-hmm. And then at the last minute, I got some Houston things. Mm-hmm. Well, no, if you really want to drop a verse, come on Friday. Can't make it, come on Saturday. Can't make it, come on Sunday. Can't make it, come on Monday. Can't make it, I'll be there tomorrow. Anything other than that, you're ducking. Period.
Let's see, Tone.
Conversation.
Okay, what is KD? In KD's defense here, what does KD have to lose coming up on players first? Like, what does he have to lose? I don't think he loses any credibility. In fact, we're the ones who gain credibility. I don't think he loses any credibility if we have a conversation and it turns into us pressing. Well, because to be honest with you,
he has a lot to lose. He has a lot to lose, and I'll give you the example. Nowhere near on the same level, but the panel used to be called the Jason Williams Show.
It was. And
I know for a fact that Jason Williams said something stupid that I rebutted, and I use the clip all the time because it's hilarious, in front of him, and saw him go, oh, because he knew I was right and he was wrong. And I'm sure you did it to him once. I'm sure Ticket did it to him once. I'm sure, it happened multiple times, and he went, I'm out, because the only one losing is the NBA player. So if KD were to come on the show and try to spit whatever his angle is that he is better than Jokic, one, that gives Jokic and the Nuggets so much motivation when they played Houston, right? So he's not going to disrespect Jokic. And then that opens up the door for you guys to say, well, here's why. And now, well, you just came on a show and got proven that you weren't better than that guy that they said you were, that you said, I'm going to spit a verse. He has no, that's why he should keep his mouth shut, because he only has lost. He can't win. Even if he proves you guys wrong, you have to pull up on.
So if that's the case, then why agree to come on the show then, if that's the case?
He shouldn't.
Why agree to come on the show? Because
he shouldn't agree to come on the show under that preference, under that preface. He shouldn't come on the show.
But I don't think that I don't think that, even though we've had people on the show, we are a basketball show.
But when you guys have these other guys on, it's just to talk hoops. And yeah, some of them give hot takes, some of them don't. But just like Shaq, we didn't bring Shaq on to press him, right? We didn't bring him on we brought him on to talk about it. And we had some, he had issues with your top 10. We had fun, and he sang "Oh Canada" to me, and we had a blast. But that wasn't he didn't say something. We're like, Shaq, you're crazy.
In fact, I'm the one who said something that was crazy according
to him. Yeah, he said, that's blasphemous.
Yeah. I'm the one who said something wild according to him.
Kobe at 11, that's blasphemous. That's my favorite. Yeah. But he came on to talk about who. We didn't come on and say, we've been talking smack about you and that Wilt is the more dominant center. And then he, with factual evidence, and then he came on to rebut that during his playing days when him and Wilt, I know this didn't happen, but when him and Wilt were playing together at the same time,
right? Like joking,
that would be a completely different conversation that I don't think he would have come on. In fact, I said to him when he was having the beef with Dwight Howard, I said, you guys need to hug it out. You guys want to come on Fluent and Chill and hug it out?
You didn't say that.
He didn't say anything.
You 100% said that. I'm just thinking, all right, I watched, excuse me, I watched podcasts with KD on them, and KD is one of those people who talks hoops, right? He's not one of them smoke type of dudes, right? He wants to talk basketball. I did have some questions, and with me having some questions, I was prepared for the temperature to get turned up because I was gonna ask some questions. With that being said,
Were you gonna ask him? Were you gonna ask him the question how when he was on Mind the Game with LeBron, he completely contradicted what he said about perimeter defenders?
I was not going to ask him.
You know that? Oh, okay.
No,
He's
very... I did watch the show, and with watching the show, it was a basketball show, and it was. I'm not when I watch these shows, Tone. I don't watch these shows to catch these dudes in lies. I don't watch these shows. I want to listen to these dudes talk hoops because I talk hoops, and that's what I wanted to do.
I'm good with that. 100%.
I wanted to talk hoops with this dude. Now, I did have some questions about Golden State. I had some questions about being in Golden State and about also in Oklahoma City. I had some questions about that. But for the most part, I wanted to talk hoops with this dude. I wanted to talk about offense. I wanted to talk about his offensive mindset. I wanted to talk about him as a bucket getter. I wanted to talk about how him and Russ, how that thing maturated. I wanted to talk about how he played off of Russ, how Russ played off of him. I wanted to talk about those things. I was going to get into my questions after that, because it was leading up to my questions, but that's what I wanted to talk about. And I don't want it to sound like, I don't want it to sound like we ran him off. But to your point, the idea of him being, I don't think he was afraid of us. I genuinely think that he had other stuff going on.
You know what? I'll pull a LeBron. What's my favorite saying? Other than when you fail fast, the second one? Two things can be true at the same time.
Things can be true at the same time.
So he absolutely could have had some things come up with Houston, 100%, 100%. But he also had 4 opportunities and the opportunity to say, "I'll do it tomorrow." So that's why I'm saying he came up. Look, if he said, "Hey, I saw your show," listen, I disagree with your opinion. Let me come on the show and let's talk about it. And let's talk hoops because I'm a hooper. You guys are hoopers. Let's talk.
Yes.
It would have been a completely different scenario. Or let's be honest. We've had people on the show who have agreed to come on the show and they've said, "Hey, you're not allowed to talk or ask about this."
And that's what I thought too, Tony.
All the time.
Yes.
So he easily could have said, "Hey, I'm still in the league. I still am facing Jokic, right, on a night in, night out basis. I'll come on the show to talk hoops. We can talk a little bit about that, but I don't want it to be this big, that to be this big
fiasco
battle. Yeah, fiasco, like where there's yelling and screaming. But I'll definitely come on the show and talk hoops with y'all because I don't know if you guys have as much knowledge as you think you do." And then he can be like, "You know what? You have a conversation and be like, you know what? The guys in the comments were saying you guys are just hot takes and whatever, and you guys don't know who. But now I see that you do know what you're talking about, and those clips are doing their job. Those clips are meant to sound weird and bad and hot and stupid because that's what people like to see, right? They don't clip you giving a excellent 5-minute tutorial on X's and O's and backdoor screens and blah. They don't. You do it, but they don't clip that. What they clip is, listen, motherfucker. When I
what they clip is
I talk, you listen, you talk, I listen. That's what they'll do because, well, that's what people want to see. That's what people want to see, and that's okay.
No doubt.
And you can't base it off of clips because the whole point of clips is to get people. Just think about a trailer. How many times have you watched a movie where you're like, "Man, that trailer's good," and then you watch the movie and be like, "Damn, everything good in that movie was in the trailer."
Same thing like whenever I think about that stuff, Tone, I think about an album. Like I heard a single, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm going to get the album." Album sucked.
Yeah.
The best song on the album was the one on the radio. That's it. There's nothing else going on the album. With KD, when KD said that he was showing, I'm thinking, dude is showing up. We're going to talk hoops, and we're going to probably disagree on some things, but I am going to ask some tough questions because I need some answers on what's going on with him and why he did this and why he did that. I 100% was prepared to take it there, but I was also prepared. I wasn't going to jump on him like, "KD, yo, you need to explain." No, I wasn't. I was not going to do that. That's not the way. That's not the way you handle things. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk hoops with this dude because I seen him on other podcasts. I seen him talk hoops with people. And to match wits with one of the best scorers in NBA history, to talk to one of the best scorers in NBA history and talk hoops with him, I'm so down to do that.
Everyone calls me a KD hater. And what have I said about KD in terms of scoring? That he's the most efficient, maybe best scorer, most versatile scorer I've ever seen in 40 plus years watching hoops. Well, okay, how's that a hater? Right? I say one of the things I love about KD, he's all about hoops. Morning, noon, and night, he's hooping, he's playing, he loves this game more than anyone I think I've ever seen. And as much as people think, here's what I would do. If KD were to pop up right now, I should send him the link. If he were to pop up, you know what? I'm going to send him the link. As a matter of fact, I'll do it while you're talking, so it's not rude. Okay. If he were to pull up right now, though, I would do this. I would thank him for coming on because he's a damn human being and he's a guest in my house, and I would be respectful. And we would talk about basketball and his offensive game and how all those questions that you talk about, we would have that conversation. And when we built up some rapport and we're making some jokes, then I'd say to him, yo, why is your brother DMing me talking smack that I hate on you just because I said I didn't like your move to Golden State and how they begged you to get there and they begged you to stay? Like, how much begging was going on? And we'd have fun with it because he's a human being and you can have a conversation with a human being. Right. And I think KD more than anybody understands criticism isn't hate, because you applaud the good things and you question the negatives. That's how the world works.
I was looking at it, like you said, Tone. I was looking at it from the aspect of being able to talk to an all-time great scorer, just like if Jordan came on the show, just like if Magic came on the show. I would ask Magic about what happened in 1984. 100%. I 100% would ask him about.
I love Magic Johnson. He's my favorite player all time, and I would ask him about the tragic Magic days.
100%. I want to talk about that. I would love to talk about that. I would if we had Jordan on the show. I 100% want to talk about Jordan, how he transitioned his game from the wing to the post. I 100% want to do that. But also want to talk about what happened against the Detroit Pistons. I 100% want to do that. I want to talk about what happened against the Miami Heat in 1997. I want to talk about those things. Yes, because people need to know that. However, immediately, because it's the internet, they automatically think that, yo, you have to just bring the ruckus all the time. Like, that's ridiculous. Tone, if we had James on here, do you think that I wouldn't ask James about 2011? Are you crazy?
You have to.
If we had James on here, you don't think I would ask James what happened in 2009? Like, James, what was your motive? Why did you leave Cleveland the second time? What was your motivation for leaving Cleveland the second? You don't think I would ask James the tough questions? I 100% would ask him the tough questions. Hell yes, I would. But I would also, like with KD, like with Jordan, like with Joker, any of these guys, I would talk hoops with these dudes because we got the best players to ever play the game. I think James is the best ever. If I got the best player, if I think the best player to ever play the game on my show, on our show, that I would not talk to him about hoops. I 100% want to talk basketball, just like he was doing with Steve Nash and KD. I 100% want to do that.
Gucci.
Remember we had Gucci on?
Yes, we did.
We talked about like that. That's the part that drives me nuts, is that we're just gonna have a conversation,
right?
And find out the mindset, because there's, I say this to everybody. There's only certain things that each person can know, right? Like, we understand the X's and O's, and we've played ball and blah blah. We coach and you refed and whatever.
Sure.
But I know, up until the college and European pro level, we know what those locker rooms were like. It's different in the NBA, right? Travel is different in the NBA. Coaching is issues you got to deal with are different. You can't understand those things, so you ask the questions about those types of things, right? Like, remember was it Bob Pettit we were talking to, and it's like, dude, like, what was it like then?
Right.
It's just
I
like, right? Like, yes. it's because it was different, and there's no way of knowing when you had to ride your bicycle to the stadium to play.
And not like today, like
horse and buggy,
because
like-
you live down the block in a luxury apartment, right? No,
Yeah.
it ain't like that.
Yeah.
No, you live way across town and you ride your bike to the stadium.
You know, you had to jump on that horse and buggy and, you know,
Right.
crank up the car. He would not have liked that, by the way. But, you know, it's those times were different, and it's important to ask those questions. And I think, you know, everybody's doing these podcasts and it's awesome. And we're seeing kind of insight. But, you know, when I hear the stuff like, and I'm not even on PC anymore, but I'm still like, come on, guys. Like when I hear stuff like, oh, it's a small little, why would they show up on that? And it's like, well, no, hold on. You guys have had like Gilbert Arenas and Pat Beverly and, you know, you've had people on like these guys. That's what they do. There's nothing wrong with like, you know, how many shows have 15,000 people sitting there watching live every day for 3 hours? Like that number is small. So, you know, people in here saying, you know, Katie's, you know, whatever.
You dudes in the comments, like
This
not
is
like
what
like
you
like
are.
not the
I'm sorry,
not the
Katie,
cool
if this
stuff.
forces him to come on, until he comes on, this is what he is. He's
Yeah,
done.
like you dudes in the comments, only two of them speak highly of them. Okay, I just because I said I think KD is overrated because you think he a top 10 player all time. I don't think that. So I think he's overrated. I do think that 100%. I believe that.
And
I
let's
think
be
that
clear,
I think that the KD,
overrated doesn't mean bad.
no, it doesn't.
Right?
Just
Like
because you think he's a top 10 player all time, I think that's overrated. Does that mean that does that mean he's overrated as a player? No, I think he's awesome as a player. I don't think he's a top 10 player all time. No, I don't think that.
look,
No.
here's how little I have Kobe at 6, you have Kobe at 11. By your standards, I have him overrated. That doesn't mean he's bad. You have him at 11.
And you
Right.
think you think where I have him at, he's underrated.
Overrated, yeah. It doesn't. Neither one is right or wrong, and neither one is disrespectful.
Right.
It's just a difference of opinion, and that's where I think people don't understand is that. And actually, let's be honest. Like, where does KD rank for me? He doesn't, because I don't rank active players in all-time lists. So that's not disrespectful.
He's been in the league for almost since Bill Clinton been president. Feel like that. It does really feel like that. He's been in the league since Bill Clinton.
I might just take him out just to be 100% consistent and let people be like.
It is that. But what I don't want to, and Tone and I are at odds with this because Tone thinks he ducked. Two things can be true. Tone thinks he ducked. I don't think he ducked. I think he has some stuff going on. I would like for him to come on because I want to talk hoops. I do have some tough questions, and I'm down to get into it. But more than anything, I want to talk hoops with the dude.
Yeah, and
that's what I want to do. I want to talk hoops.
I would love to talk hoops with KD 1,000,000 times over. I'd love to watch it, but I want to know why is it silly that I don't have active players in my full time? Why is it silly? That's how I feel. I think whatever you do is silly. Like it's so what.
Make sure that you guys, by the way, in the chat, make sure that you guys say the same thing, not just to me. Like I said that, you know, I'm a Kobe hater and it's pure disrespect. I want you guys to know, and a lot of you guys in the comments, your kids, I'm sure about it. So when Kobe Bryant retired in 2016, ESPN came out with a top 100 list. I don't know if you guys know this, but they had Kobe Bryant at 12. That's where they had him at. And then fast forward to 2022. When you fast forward to 2022, which is not the 75th anniversary of the NBA, but like Tone was talking about, no, it is not. But when they had the 75th anniversary, you know where ESPN had Kobe at? At 10.
Fake.
That's where they had him at.
Fake.
I got him at 11, right? But if you got him anywhere between 7 and that, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. You can't convince me he's the third or second best player in NBA history. I don't understand why this is. I don't understand why this is something that's like, why this is such a big deal. Give me a break.
Well, how isn't Braun a top 5 player already? That's great. Who said he wasn't a top 5 player?
You didn't say that, Tone. You did not.
Who said? Please elaborate when you're just making stuff up in the comments. I love, I don't know. Did someone in the comments say it and I missed it? I have no idea. So here's the thing. When I say two things can be true at the same time, what I'm saying is, could he have something have come up? You Fluent, me Fluent, what? Me, Fluent, what? I said he wasn't top 5? Who's not top 5?
First of all,
Who?
James is the exception, Ralph. Just so we clear, James
Who,
is the
who
exception,
isn't top? No,
and he's
who
been in the
isn't top
league.
5?
And James has been in the league for like 34 years now. So he's the exception.
But I still want to know where. I want to know.
Right.
I want to know
Yeah.
what did I say? Please tell me what I said so I can prove you wrong again. So, anyways, back to this thing. Could something have come up on Monday for like there's the press conference that I don't know? Did he have a press conference? Okay,
That's what I think.
but that also doesn't mean that he wasn't ducking because a press conference doesn't take all day.
Mm-hmm.
So he easily could have said, "Hey, have a press conference that came up. You know, obviously you're going to introduce me now that the 7-team ridiculous 7-team trade is complete. So now I'm officially a Houston Rocket, and we're doing a press conference.
Yep.
I can do a later show. I could do it at 5. I could do it. I can come on Tuesday at 11. I could come on Fluent and Chill at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. And that was quick.
Fuck him.
You know, there's so many things that's why, like, when you give nothing, that's ducking, right? Like, that's like these guys who, you know, are in our comments and say, I'm gonna cook this guy. I cooked you, bro. Like all these guys in my comments, I cooked you, bro. And I'm like, you said one thing, I proved you wrong. And then after I proved you wrong, you said I won and you left the chat. That's not winning. That's not winning. So that's what I'm saying when I say he's ducking. There you go. I'm a cook Fluent. Yeah, you're not. Because here's the funny part. There was a dude in my comments arguing with me for a month, telling me what I thought, and I said, "Please explain." Please, the link comes out at 9:30.
Oh, we will, Carter. Absolutely, we will, Carter.
Come on.
Don't tell him to drop the link, and then when we do it,
then
you don't pull up because
it's not working.
100%. Carter, listen to me right now. We're doing it. So hang out, brother.
9:30.
100% dropping the link.
It's almost time. Okay. And so the guy's in my on TikTok for a month, right? And I go, "What is it that you think we're even debating?" And he said, "You think that 90s basketball is the best era ever."
He never said that.
And I said, I don't think that at all. What are you talking about? Why are you always defending? I said, I defend 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, 20s. I defend them all if someone says something incorrect. And where is most of the disrespect and incorrect stuff from? From the past, because you don't know it, so you disrespect it. But how many times have I said, heck, in a debate on player's choice, when we did one of those, what did I pick as the best era ever in basketball? Today, this era, because it is.
I just think that.
So it's like, so what do you are? So and then, yeah, exactly. You had nothing else to say, and he disappeared, and that's why I hate. And I get suckered into this. And you don't. See, you're smarter than me because you don't. I get suckered into it's like that's why I don't want to debate in the comments, because when I do. Last point, and we're going to move on because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Someone asked me a question, and I forget what it was, but I said, Anthony Davis was never a top 5 player in the NBA.
That is not true. And
I said, well, here's 10 reasons. I gave 10 reasons why I thought he was. And one of the 10, because it was when he played with LeBron. And one of the 10 was in that year, the bubble ring. I said, you know, and I think it might have been number 11, even now that I think about it. But one of them was he was 6th in MVP voting among all the other things I said. And his response was 6th ? Like that automatically takes him out of the top 5. And I went, seriously? I gave you 10 or 11 things, and that's and so they pick the one thing and just they hold on to it like for dear life. For dear life, they hold on to the one. And I'm like, other times I've given you like 30 things.
Yeah. I don't get involved in that. I hit the block button, Tone. Nope.
No, and you know me. I've never, not on IG, not on Twitter, not on TikTok. I've never blocked anyone.
Like this dude right here, like Denver Sports, he up next. He about to get blocked. That's what he about to get blocked. That's about to happen. And what he'll tell us is that you don't want to hear the truth. You know, the truth is that I don't want to listen to your goofy ass.
Well,
That's the
hey, you
truth.
know what? If he cares about LeBron, first of all, LeBron has never taken steroids, but we'll get to that in a second. Most people don't know the difference. However, here we go. When was it? When was AD top 5? AD was
We'll
never
talk
top
about
5.
it. We can talk about it later.
Later. But one of the things that we didn't talk about 2 weeks ago that we said we needed to talk about was the PED testing, and that is on the agenda for today. So Denver Sports, stay tuned because that is coming up. Let me set that up. While I do, watch this. The winners of the offseason are only getting better. The winners of the maybe this is not a good thing. What are your thoughts? Milwaukee Bucks are a team to watch.
Well, first things first, Tone.
Westbrook.
Yeah, first things first, Tone. He said that he wants to play closer to home. Well, when I first heard that, I'm thinking, he already played for the Lakers. We ain't doing that again, right? Okay. Even if the Lakers were interested, we're not doing that again because how they treated him when he played for the Lakers. No, we're not doing that again. He played for the Clippers already, so that actually went well. But I think that they traded their backup lead guard spot, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, they got Chris Dunn, who's really good. I love everything about him.
You talking about the Clippers or the Nuggets?
Yes. The Clippers, yeah, they're already straight with their backup lead guard spot because, like I said, Tone, Russ is at that advantage. I think he's going to be 37 in November. So he said he wants to play closer to home because he wants to be closer to his family. So with that being said, I'm running down the teams like the Lakers. We're not doing that again. He already played for the Clippers, which actually went well, right? With the Clippers going well, I'm not sure if they're interested because they're already straight at their backup lead guard spot, right? Golden State, I think that they're good. Sacramento they got 3 guards, 3 lead guards. They got Devin Carter. They got the kid that they just signed from Detroit, Dennis Schroeder, and I feel like I'm leaving somebody out. But they got 3 lead guards. I know they got Ross on their roster. So I think that they straight. So Sacramento's good, Golden State's good, the Lakers are good, the Clippers are good. Okay, so now we're moving further up the Northeast. I'm sorry, up the West Coast. With that being said, Tone, so the Trailblazers are building something in Portland. With them building something in Portland,
I disagree, but keep going.
Oh, they 100% doing it, Tone. And that's the other thing that I want to talk to you about, Tone. And I know this on the West Coast, but my man, I want you to start paying more attention to what they're doing up in Portland.
I will watch 10 games in the first 2 months.
Just like when I told you what I thought Houston was going to be. I don't think Portland's going to be that, but I implore you, Tone, to start watching some Trailblazer games. I think they're going to be better this season.
The Utah Jazz have an over/under of 18.5 win total.
I'm taking the over. I'll take, and when I say over, I don't mean like 30. I'm like 21.
Do you know what the over/under is on the Portland Trailblazers?
I don't. I know they won 36 games last year. Yeah, I know they won 36 games last year. I think that they could be a 500 team, if not better. That's where I'm at with them.
So you and here we go. Portland Trailblazers. Okay. So let me go back. Now that I have the number. So 18.5 is the over/under for the Jazz. I'm taking the over. The Trailblazers over/under is 32.5. And I thought it was going to be 42.5, and I was going to take the under. So at 32.5, I'm going to take. No. I'm taking the over. I said I thought it was 42.5.
I don't mean you. I mean so the over/under. They think they're going to be worse this season coming up.
Yeah, because they are.
Wow. I mean,
how often is Vegas wrong? How often is Vegas wrong?
Yeah, definitely wrong. They're definitely wrong in this one.
Okay. Well, no, they're not definitely wrong. You think they're definitely
Let me
wrong.
rephrase that. I think they're wrong in this one.
Because there's no definitely until it
Right.
happens.
I think
I always,
they're wrong.
and I know that's semantics, but when people say this team would definitely go 82-0 if they played in 1987, I'm like, no, your opinion is that, and that's great, but unless you can take that team and drop them in there, there's no way to know definitely.
So let me rephrase that, Tone.
Yes.
I think that they're wrong. The 32 wins, I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over 2, but under 4. I thought it was 42.5, so I was incorrect. So Russ, the thing with Russ is Milwaukee's not close to home. So
no, it isn't. So again,
so that's
but
not
but I actually like him as a backup lead guard in Milwaukee. I like that. First of all, how fast Giannis plays. Don't get me wrong. I know that the first thing that people are going to say, because it's a buzzword, spacing. Like when they talk about stuff like that, and you got KD, and you got not KD. We were just talking about KD. That's why I thought about that. With Giannis and Russ on the floor at the same time, well, the spacing is going to be ridiculous. Well, wait a minute. First and foremost, Giannis shot, I think, his best percentage from the mid-range this season. It just passed. And if you can knock down a mid-range shot, you can create spacing. 100% you can do that. Russ isn't the best shooter, but I think that Russ, with Giannis being able to knock down a mid-range shot, there will be some spacing there. And I think Russ can give you some quality minutes. He's still a damn good distributor. He can still get downhill. Now, he's not the athletic Russ that he was 5 years ago, but he can still get downhill. He can still get to the rim. I like him in Milwaukee. 100% I do. And I think that with Milwaukee bagging him at the backup lead guard spot, so if KPJ ends up getting hurt, Russ came in last year, this season that just passed, when Jamal Murray got hurt and gave them solid minutes. There was a stretch where people were saying, where we were actually having a conversation, should Russ be starting with Jamal Murray? Should that be going on? So I don't think it's ridiculous to think that if KP were to go down with an injury and he's out of the lineup for a couple of games or a week or so, that Russ couldn't fill that and be really good. I would, and on top of that, I think you can get Russ on the cheap. Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Russ coming to Milwaukee for the vet minimum. He did that in Denver last year, and he was really good. So you're gonna have to up the price in Milwaukee in order to get Russ there. But I love him in Milwaukee. 100%.
That's an X on that one. I disagree. And here's why I disagree. I think Russ's days are done. And in terms of helping a team, right, couldn't get him what he wanted in terms of a ring. And if he does get one, it's going to be in a much lesser role. I think Russ is the type of guy now, if he still wants to play, I think he probably should just retire. But if he still wants to play, he's going to be on kind of a mid-level team that just there's an injury and hey, we need a name to bring in and kind of let him do his thing a little bit and he'll be fine. I'd like to see him finish his career in OKC, but I don't know how that messes up, I think, way too much of that championship chemistry that they have. But it would be nice because OKC loves him. Like you see, he goes in and he gets standing ovations. I flirted with him taking over Halliburton's role in Indiana until they can figure out what they're going to do up there. But I'm like, does that make him better or worse? And then I was like, that might be the only contender that makes sense to me because I don't want to compare his game to Halliburton, but they're both a little bit out of control, but definitely fast paced. So I could see that working out, especially in the East that is wide open. But other than that, it's one of the bottom tier teams to, have a name, sell some tickets, right? Like it wouldn't hurt for him to be in Washington or Charlotte or, one of those teams that just, they're not going anywhere. Utah. No, he didn't. I don't know that he was.
I don't think he was.
Utah's
Well,
not
don't forget he got traded to Utah, and they were the ones who passed on him.
Yeah, no, I know. But I'm saying I'm thinking of the bottom feeders, and maybe it's a mid-level team. Maybe it's I don't know who's a mid-level team. Portland, but you said they're building something that I disagree with. Who are some of the other?
So on a championship team or a contender, you don't think Russ is viable, even though last year when he was in Denver.
What? So Chicago would be a great spot for him.
I don't think Chicago's going to be very good. I don't think they're a mid-level team. I think that they are the reason why we look at them like a mid-level team, Tone, is because
they're in the East. So they're when I say mid-level, I'm talking
it's not just that it's the East, because we got the play-in tournament.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 10 through 7.
I mean, they had the same record as Dallas last year, and
there you go. So I think 10 through 7 is a mid-level team. So Russ in Chicago, Russ in
Miami,
yes, absolutely,
Miami,
yeah.
Like so Miami.
There's places where I think having him around would be it would be a positive versus being a negative thing.
Right.
I just don't think Milwaukee maybe, but if he wants to be, the problem again is if he wants to be close to home,
right. That's the biggest problem.
To change his demeanor and that, like, even Denver is closer to LA. Like there's direct flights like 20 times a day from Denver to LA. You can make it pretty quick. Like I lived in Denver and worked in LA. Like it's very viable to make that trip.
I've flown to Denver
frequently, yeah. When all the TSA people know you by name, it gets pretty easy to get through security too. So there's opportunities there for him. All right, next one up. They moved this on me. Oh, here we go. Okay. See, I don't know. I told you, the people watching don't know. They changed up where all the buttons are here in the background.
Yeah.
And it's my first time messing around with it, and I don't even know what I'm bringing up, so it's going to be a surprise to everybody when I bring up the topic, which it can be fun. It can be fun. Let's go. I think we're going to disagree on this one too. We are going to see a DeAndre Ayton that we haven't seen in a while. It would have been way more. I'm going to repost this as like clickbait and say we are going to see a DeAndre Ayton that we've never seen before.
I do think that, Tone. I think that we're going to see a different DeAndre,
or what we haven't seen in a while.
I think we're going to see a DeAndre Ayton that we've never seen before. I think we're going to see a motivated DeAndre Ayton. I think we're going to see a DeAndre Ayton who plays a lot harder. I think we're going to see a better defender, a better rim protector. One of the things that I've always recognized about big guys is when you keep them involved in the game offensively, they will do the other stuff. But when you don't, especially when you got offensive guys who play defense, like Anthony Davis is a defender who can score. So you don't have to keep him involved in the game offensively. He's already a defender, so he's going to do that anyway. He's going to glass clean. He's going to rim protect. He's going to man the paint. But when you got a guy who's a bucket getter, who plays defense like DeAndre Ayton, who will block shots, who will rebound it, I think he's a top 10 rebounder in the game, if I'm being honest with you, in terms of a big guy. If you keep him involved in the game, throwing him lobs, playing in the pick and pop, playing pick and dive with him. And not only that, him running the floor, because again, Tone, I know how you feel about guys with low motors. We actually had this conversation about DeAndre Ayton being soft. I think the offense is going to change because you got a big guy like DeAndre Ayton. I remember hearing Jason Kidd say to I remember J.R. Smith saying, Jason Kidd said to him, I'm going to get you 6 points a game just by running. Just run the floor, and I'm going to get you 6 points. Well, the same logic, I'm 100% confident that the same logic goes for DeAndre Ayton because Anthony Davis did it. Where Anthony Davis was running the floor, he would just run to the rim, and James would just throw the ball to him. When we had a change in possession, he would just run to the rim. I'm open, throw me the ball, and James would throw on the ball. And I think that with DeAndre Ayton doing that, I think he rim runs more. With him rim running more, I think I'm going to get more rebounds. I think in the process of me getting more rebounds, I think he's going to block more shots because you involve him in the offense. Tone, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a 20-10 season out of him.
You have no idea how bad DeAndre Ayton is.
Clearly, I don't.
I'm stealing your Tim Duncan line.
Clearly, I don't.
You are going to hate DeAndre Ayton. LeBron is going to hate DeAndre Ayton. Luka's going to hate Ayton, and Ayton's going to hate all of them, and here's why.
This is incredible.
Because one, Luka's going to throw him a lob. It's going to go right through his stupid butter fingers into the third row, and he's going to be like, I'm not passing to this dude no more. LeBron's going to yell at him for standing on the baseline watching a defensive possession just happen in front of his eyes, and he's going to yell at him and be like, "What's wrong, old man?" And he's going to get so frustrated with Luka pounding the ball, LeBron pounding the ball, Reeves pounding the ball. There's not enough ball to go around. And so he's going to get frustrated. And what happens when big men get frustrated? To the opposite of your point, when you feed them the ball, they get going. When they don't,
they don't.
And they just start lollygagging from baseline to baseline. And that's what you're going to see from Ayton. And you're right. It is going to be an Ayton you've never seen before. It's going to be the worst Ayton you've ever seen before. And everyone's going to be like, you even did something so
this is incredible that
you did something so egregious just now. You just compared him to Anthony Davis.
Okay, no. What I did was I compared Anthony Davis doing a specific thing to a DeAndre Ayton.
He's not
rim running like DeAndre. Anthony Davis, DeAndre Ayton rim running like Anthony Davis did. Tone. That's not something that's astronomical. What I am is a big. How I can get easy buckets? I can get easy buckets by rim running the floor. And if I got a distributor like Luka, if I got a distributor like James, all you got to do is run to the rim. That's all you have to do. They will find you.
I want to be wrong. I want you to be right. I want to be wrong.
Man.
I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life.
Because when I think about when I think about DeAndre Ayton and I think about all the things that he brings to the game, damn good mid-range game, really good touch around the rim, rebounds his ass off, will run the floor. But then there's the other parts of it, right? The other parts of it won't run the floor, won't rebound, isn't engaged a lot of times on defense. Gets lost on defense, won't guard, won't play well in drop coverage, won't rebound. Okay, that's the worst part. To be honest with you, Tone, that's the worst part of him. And I think that you guys, this is a glass half empty attitude with.
Hey, you know what?
Ayton.
I've got this water.
The glass is half empty.
This is a glass half empty mentality. The Lakers filled a need that was necessary. The NBA, I'm sorry, not the NBA. I'm sorry. The Trailblazers gave the NBA a gift by eating his deal.
Yeah.
Everybody says that this is going to be a disaster. Everybody thinks that DeAndre Ayton and the Lakers, this is a match made in hell. This guy is going to suck. I think you guys are wrong. I do. And if I'm wrong, I will come back and if I'm wrong, I will come back and say I was wrong.
Listen, let's throw back to a year ago this time.
Yep.
I said to you, and he proved me right in the playoffs, but in the regular season, I said to you, I don't think JJ Redick's ego is going to allow him to be a good coach. And he's going to push these guys into doing things that he wants versus things that they're good at. Mm-hmm. And what did I tell you about halfway, 3/4 through the season? I said I was wrong. JJ has done a great job. I hope he continues it in the playoffs. He did not, but that's fine. But I admitted that I was wrong. And I want to be wrong when it comes to the Lakers when I say negative stuff. And I want to be wrong about Ayton. What I'm afraid of is to when I see comments like, they made Jackson Hayes look like a $20 million player. And unless you're saying Ayton is worse than Jackson Hayes, no one is saying he's a worse player. Mm-hmm. However, effort matters.
It does.
And if you don't go 100%, it doesn't matter that I'm better, more athletic, more skilled, more talented, more blah, 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 blah. None of that matters. If I don't put in the work, it's not going to show up on the court. And that's what scares me. Now, to your point, is he in a contract year?
Yes, he
or
is.
Or is that next year?
This year.
Oh, no. He was released. No, he was bought out. No. He was
This 2-year, this is a 2-year deal for $16 million. That's a little bit of money, Tone.
Okay, so he's getting 8 and 8. Is it equal?
8 and 8. Mm-hmm. 8 and 8.
I'd feel better about him next year. I'd feel better about him next year because next year he's going to be getting paid 8 and be like, if I show out, I can get 25, 30, 40 because they need a center. I'd feel better about it next year. But again, I hope I'm wrong. All right. This one is interesting. So Mike Brown, the new coach of the New York Knickerbockers, plans to give Rick Brunson a reduced role on the Knicks coaching staff.
Yep.
Why is he even on the coaching staff?
Because of his son. That was part of the deal. Yeah, that was definitely part of the deal. To get
He
Brunson,
shouldn't be on. Fire him.
yeah, to get Brunson to the Knicks, that was part of the deal. Which, by the way, this has worked out incredibly well. I mean, they got Brunson on the cheap, and they still got Brunson on the cheap. He actually took less dough to come to the Knicks. But if I'm being honest with you, Tone, and you're a father, you got a boy.
I hope Fluent Jr. is that good that they'll hire me as a coach just because
I'm confident.
Love it.
Because I know you, Tone. I'm confident. If they hire you as the
right next to me, by the way, I won't forget. You'll be sitting right next to me.
And you know what I will be sitting next to you knowing? If they hire Tone as the lead assistant, guess who we running the plays for? Guess who we giving the ball to?
Hell yeah.
Yes. Guess who we giving the ball to? Guess who we running the plays for? Well, as the lead assistant, 100%, my son is going to have the ball in his hand. My son is going to be the guy who I'm looking out for him. And it just so happens that his son is really good. Well, Mike Brown is looking at that offense, and it needs to change. There needs to be more ball movement. There needs to be more action off the ball. There needs to be more of this, because it's a really stagnant offense where you got a small guy in Brunson who has the ball 90% of the time. They play off of him. He got better as a passer this year, but in the past, he wasn't really coming off the ball. With him not coming off the basketball, that was making their offense really stagnant. And I think Mike Brown is going to change that. But I will tell you this, right? I will tell you this. Previous to that, 100%, that was the offense. Brunson was putting the ball in his son's hands.
It's his dad, FYI.
Yes.
And yes, Big Ox, you're on that staff too. I got you. Me, you, and Ox. Actually, I like that coaching staff. I don't hate that one bit. We just got to get Fluent Jr. up in there.
But I like the fact that Mike Brown. I like the fact that Mike Brown is doing this. I like the fact.
I like that he's doing it. My concern is Tibbs. By all accounts, Tibbs was doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Did Rick Brunson, being on that staff, being a lead assistant on that staff, running the offense through his son, cause any of those issues that got Tibbs fired?
I think so.
So do I. Just like I think Doc Rivers played a huge role in Adrian Griffin getting fired. 100%. So now Mike Brown is coming in, and the first thing you announce, like have you heard anything about what Mike Brown's going to do with the Knicks? First thing you hear is
this right here.
Daddy's taking a lesser role.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, and I doubt it, but unless Brunson himself came out and said to Coach, "Hey, my dad's a little."
He did.
Right? We know that didn't happen.
He did not do that.
Then you're starting off right away, warming up for playback. What time is playback? Is it right when this finishes at 10?
10 o'clock.
Okay, so right at 10, when we say drink water and call your mother, go over to playback and check out player choice. If he's not the one saying it, then you're right off the bat starting in a precarious position with your best player and one of your assistants who and I don't know this, so I'm asking the question. Did Mike bring in all his own assistants, or did he keep all of Tibbs' assistants?
As far as I know, Coach Brunson is still on the staff. I'm not sure who
if
else.
Any of the others are assistants are there and they like Coach Brunson versus player that's right away. You're starting off with conflict, which you don't need if you have or can't have if you have championship aspirations. So that part worries me a little. That part worries me. Actually, not a little. That part worries me a lot, a bit.
But Tone, can we agree that the offense did need to change? Now, I do understand.
Of course, it needed to change.
I do understand where you are. I do understand where you are when it comes to, I'm looking out for my son. But, what's best for you might not be best for the group. And that's the idea here.
Sure.
Right. And I think
I do it now. I coach my son's team.
Yep.
And it's easy at this age to say, hey, you're bringing up the ball. Your job is to get everybody else involved.
Yep.
Right? You're the point guard. You're the leader. That's your job. It's not to just go out and get yours. Right. And there are days when I only scored 7 or 9, whatever. And it's like, it's cool. you won the game and you got, your big, you got him 15, which dude only scores 5 a game. I don't know if it would be that easy. I don't know if it would be that easy at the NBA level.
And I don't think it would be neither, Tone. I just feel like with what Brunson does, I think that Coach Rick Brunson, he was doing everything that he could. That's not true, by the way. But he was because I'm talking right now, as a matter of fact. He was doing everything that he could to showcase his son. Okay. First of all, he was playing behind Luka. And he was not playing behind Luka, but playing on the side of Luka. With him playing on the side of Luka, he ends up leaving Dallas and coming to New York, which is an area where his father is from. Like, he grew up in that area, not in New York City, but played there. And sure, I want to showcase what exactly it is I can do. And I want to showcase how good my son is, that, you guys were wrong in letting him walk out the front door. So, of course, that I'm confident, Tony, that was the conversation. Listen, we're going to put the ball in your hands. We're going to let you rock. We're going to let you do your thing. And Mike Brown comes in and goes, we're still going to do that, just not as much.
Well, I think when they did it, like let's be honest, we all questioned the signing and how much. Sure. I don't think anyone expected him to be that good.
Yes.
Like,
I know I didn't.
And it was never a knock against him. It was just like, we didn't expect him to be that good. We knew he was good. We didn't know he'd be that good.
Sure.
And I think they were like, oh, wow, he's that good. And then they started winning. And then they started winning in the playoffs. And then they're like, okay, but you can't win the championship that way. So let's take this surprisingly good player and this surprisingly good team, and now let's tweak it to make it championship viable, which is the right move. It is 100% the right move. So I just want to let everybody know, because I saved this. So it was, we need Chill to lay a verse on the beat. No, that will go platinum. Now, you don't have to do it now. I'm not asking you to freestyle. But just so you know, we have that beat and we have the rights to it, because it's actually a song called Curry, in reference to Steph Curry, written by and produced. You can go check out the song Xavier Top Floor, who
super dope, by the way.
Super dope, and gave us access to all his music. So you can go check out Curry by Xavier Top Floor and hear what he does with it, and then we'll give Jay, give him a couple weeks to see if he can come up with something. I don't know. Do you rhyme? I don't know. Do you like? I know as a kid you probably did, but I mean, like,
can I hear that track again? Can I hear it again? Give it up for the ghetto superstar. Give it up for the ghetto superstar. I could probably come up with something. Yeah, I could probably come up with something. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, give us. I'll give you. You let me know when you're ready. You let me know when you're ready, and we'll do that, and we'll record it, and we'll send it to Xavier and be like, "Yo, we stole your beat. What do you think?"
All my fellas.
This is what I can do.
All my fellas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's what we got next. How much you guys paying? We can help. Paying for what? I ain't paying for nothing. I don't pay for nothing. 17 Russ. Now let's go in order. 16 Curry, 17 Russ, 18 Harden, 25 SGA. Which guard had the best single season peak?
I think it's Curry, because I think that James Harden, he was better in 19 than he was in 18 the year he won the league MVP. Was that seven? I feel like 17 Russ, even though he won the league MVP, he had to do more than he did in the past. Not that he didn't lead the league in scoring, because I think he led the league in scoring in 15 too. But in 17, not great in terms of efficiency, but he was responsible for so much on that Oklahoma City team, because they had lost so much. Because they had lost so much, he now had to score all the points. He now had to be the distributor. He was their primary rebounder. He was doing all of that stuff. Now, it didn't look great, right? It didn't look great because they ended up with the 6th seed. But if you take Russ off that team, they're at the bottom of the Western Conference. But I still think that what Curry did in 16 was pretty astronomical. I can appreciate what SGA did. No doubt about that. Leading the league in scoring, winning the league MVP. This team won almost 70 games. No doubt about that. Him doing it without Chet for 2/3 of the season. Him doing it with Hartenstein out for a month. Him doing it with Alex Caruso in and out of the lineup, right? Him doing that with J-Dub playing the 5 and Coach experiment with a bunch of different things and then taking his team deep into the playoffs and winning the NBA championship. I mean, I think that that's incredible. With what happened with Curry, what he did, I don't think that that's going to be duplicated in the regular season. Now, don't get me wrong. It flamed out in the finals in 16, but I can tell you right now, SGA, James would have did the same thing to you too. So I'm not sitting here saying that Curry he doesn't get a pass for that. But I think it's Curry.
You just made the list.
For me, this doesn't say best regular season. So let me ask you, of these 4, who won the scoring title?
Curry did it. Russ did it.
That year. Just so I know
the
you're
best single season. Russ led the league in scoring in 17. Curry led the league in scoring in 16. SGA led the league. I think James Harden led the league in scoring in 18 too. Yes, I think he did.
Who was MVP?
All of these dudes were.
Who was finals MVP?
The dude on the end.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just one. And you want to call it ring culture? So what? It is.
It does matter.
It is how you finish is just important as how you start.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're gonna say, well, Curry had the best regular season, and I probably agree with you, and then it was probably maybe SGA, then Russ, and then I think Harden 4th if I'm doing that. But I include the playoffs.
Yep.
And if it includes the playoffs, the guy who led his team, and you can make all the excuses in the world about all this injuries, that he dealt with injuries throughout the season too. He's the one that finished, right? Like Curry, you can argue LeBron and Kyrie had the greatest comeback, or the Cavs had the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history, and the Warriors had the greatest choke job in NBA Finals history. And depending on what side of the fence you're sitting on, you'll use one or the other, or you might say both. Because if you look at what Curry did in those last few games, it was not spectacular. It was not MVP worthy.
No.
It wasn't good, and that matters. So I'm going to say they all had phenomenal seasons, and that's why this is even a question. And if I just use regular season, that would be my order.
He did get hurt. Now that I think about it, Tony, he got hurt in the playoffs that year against Houston. He only played half the series.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with SGA. I'm gonna go with SGA, and no, it's not because he is an alum of where I coach, and from Canada, or maybe it is, and I don't care. So what? If you don't like it,
they didn't need him against the Trailblazers.
This one is going to be a 2-for-1, if you don't mind, because I've got something that you want that I'm going to share, or I'm going to read to you, but then I am going to show you these 2 things. I'm going to show you the 2 graphics first. Then I'm going to read something, and I'll try to make it brief.
Yep.
Brad Stevens was not shy in explaining why they had to trade away Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and he said the second apron is why. Draymond Green had a lot to say about NBA free agency and the new CBA, and told the whole damn story. Go read it. I'm not reading it to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So quickly, I have this prepared because I didn't want to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The second apron, horrible, by the way. FYI, you think, no, we'll get to that in a second. The second apron, 2024-25. The second apron is basically, so salary cap, approximately, I know it's changed a little bit. Yes, I will paraphrase. 141 million, luxury tax is 172 million. First apron is 179. The second apron is a team that spends more than 197 million based on that $140 million number. Basically, it's $17.5 million than wherever they set the salary cap. This is why I told you need a capologist.
Mhm.
When you are in that second apron, you cannot sign a mid-level exception. So a lot of people, like you'll see, they need one more player and they get like a veteran at the mid-level exception, usually between $5 and $7 million, whether it's during the season because of an injury or at the
To
beginning.
give you guys an idea, really quickly, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut Tone off. Derek White, you can't have him. No,
Yeah, gone.
no. Derek White, when you were able to do that, no, you can't do that anymore. As you were saying, Tone.
So he's got. So now, if you have that injury and you need someone and there's someone available, can't get him. You cannot aggregate salaries in a trade. What does that mean? I have two $5 million players and I want to trade them to you for a $10 million player. Cannot do that. It has to be send out the same amount of money out that you're bringing in, not even $1 more. You could be bringing in less than you're sending out, but you cannot be bringing in more.
Which cripples me, by the way, because I'd much rather give up my two $5 million players than my $10 million guys.
Of course you would.
That wrecks me, by the way, but go ahead.
You cannot trade away. You have a frozen first-round pick. Now, it is 7 years out, but typically when you're a good team, you're like, hey, I'm going to give you my 2032 first-round pick to get something in return for today because I need to win now. You're building for the future. Can't do that.
Tone, really quickly while you reading that, can you tell everybody when the Lakers gave Gail Goodrich to New Orleans and New Orleans gave them 4 1s, that pick 2 years later, what it turned into?
What year was that?
79.
Oh, that was Magic Johnson. Pretty good. Pretty good.
So that pick that you're thinking about handing over, that's what it could turn into later on.
Absolutely. Teams over the second apron cannot take back more salary. So I've said that already. And they can't use cash in trades. So a lot of times you'll see like, I'm going to give you this guy and $5 million for that guy back.
Cash considerations.
Can't do that. You cannot.
Wait a minute, Tone. Wait. Stop right there. Tone, go back. That's a big ass deal. Here goes $5 million.
All of these are big ass deals.
I can't do that no more. So no longer can I go.
I actually think this one's big too. You can't do any sign in trades.
So that's done.
So you have a guy who's expiring,
yep.
and someone will say, yeah, I'll take him off your hands, but like sign him to the long team deal so that he gets the money that he wants, that big extension that only his current team can give him, right. And then we'll trade back those 2 guys for you or 1 for whatever. Can't do it.
Nope.
And there are no trading for players who were just signed and are still in their first season if they were signed on the non-taxpayer MLE or biannual exception, meaning the Raptors sign a guy to the mid-level exception. You are in the second apron because you're the Celtics, let's say, before they made the trades. You can't trade for that guy because another team signed him to a mid-level exception, and you can't even trade for that person. So you can't get around it by saying, hey, you sign him and then I'll trade for him.
No more of that. So the getting slick shit, nope, you can't do that neither. No.
100%. So it limits everything you do, and it is the worst thing that the NBA ever did to itself, because not only does it hurt the players because they can't get it actually, and that's why they did it. Let's be honest, they wanted to stop like super teams and all that stuff, which I don't think we're really hurting the league. But anyways,
to your point, Tone.
But I guarantee you that I don't think the teams like it either because it just handcuffed them,
wrecked them, and not and what my illustrious co-host left out. So this is you being over the salary cap. Okay, you're over the salary cap. So with you being over the salary cap, like now you owe us $3 for every dollar. This is the first time you've been over the salary cap, by the way, right? This is only the first time you've been over the salary cap. You owe us $3 for every dollar that you're over the salary cap. Now, here's the problem that my illustrious co-host didn't mention. You are a repeat offender. This ain't the first time you've been over the salary cap. This ain't the first time you've been in the second apron. You know that $3 that you owe us? Now it's almost double. We need to hold $5 for every dollar that you owe the salary cap.
That's crazy.
So if I'm if I'm 75, what is it, Tone? Like what the second apron is what 190?
197.
So it's 197.
Let's say you're at 200 million.
I'm at 200 million. So I'm at 200 million. I'm only $3 million over the salary cap. right?
Well, over the second apron.
Over the second, I'm only 3 million. So for me being only 3 million, I owe you $18 million because I owe you $5 for every $1 I'm over.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm 50 million over the salary cap, right, over the second apron, if I'm 50 million, I owe you $250 million in taxes, not in payroll. Like I already got to pay my guys, but I got to come up with another 250 million in taxes.
But don't, it's worse than that because
Oh
don't
my
forget,
God.
once you go over the luxury tax, you're already paying. So if you're at 150, you're actually paying 450. So you're already paying 500-600 million in salaries and salary taxes. Like it's insane. Like you could get up to $1 billion real quick.
Yeah.
That just doesn't work. All right. Last, we got these. One will be not quick, but it'll be fairly quick. So we're still on pace for 9:30. We'll send out the link and get you guys on. You jumped the gun and let me go back. Oh, sorry. Let me go back quickly before I do that. You think there's going to be a lockout because of this?
I do, Tone.
I think the owners hate it just as much, and I think they're going to abolish it, and I think we're actually going to be okay.
The reason why I think there's going to be a lockout is because this benefits the players. You're going to get paid. Oh, 100% you're going to get paid. Here's the problem. That crew that you on, that you love, we ain't going to be able to keep them together.
You're going to get paid, but you're going to be shipped off to Charlotte.
Yes, you're going to be by yourself.
Yeah, you're going to be picking on Charlotte. You're going to be shipped off to Washington. You're going to be shipped off to.
That's what's going to end up happening. That crew
somewhere
that you love,
somewhere you don't want to be. Somewhere you don't want.
Oklahoma City crew that you in love with, that you're not going to be able to stay there because we can't afford to keep doing this. So
Drew Holiday, you're getting shipped to Portland. You were in Boston competing for chips. Now you're going to Portland where they're rebuilding.
Oh, my goodness, man. This CBA is throwing a monkey wrench. And again, you can get paid like SGA. Just so we're clear, he's the highest paid player in sports. In all the major
not in sports.
Well, let me rephrase that. In the major sports in America.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the highest paid player at 71 million. With that being said, right? With him now being in Denver,
71 million,
71.4 million. That's crazy, right? So with him being in Oklahoma City, where we know small markets, Tone, shit gets expensive fast, real fast.
Damn.
So how they're going to be able to hold on to him now? Some would say, right? Some would say that Oklahoma City is so good at cultivating talent and developing talent. They're so good at that they can afford to lose some guys, whether it's via free agency or trade, because I got 17 first-round picks, number one. Number two, I'm so good at developing talent that I can afford to lose Case and Wallace in free agency. I can afford to lose Aaron Wiggins. I can afford to lose Caruso. I can afford to do that. But when you have these guys for 1 or 2 years, you got a revolving door. That doesn't help when, my star is got a legacy thing going on and I need to keep winning. And then automatically this thing now goes to pieces, where we saw Joker in the championship one year, and now he's in a space where he's having a really difficult time getting back. Denver's trying to retool, no doubt about that, but he's having a really difficult time trying to get back. Here we are now with SGA. He may be looking at something like that in the future if Oklahoma City isn't able to continue to draft well and continue to develop talent.
Oh boy. All right. Now to this.
Yep.
These are all the moves by NBA teams this offseason so far, with the exception of whatever's happened in the last 12 hours or so. Did you notice the Golden State Warriors?
They haven't done anything. Nope. They haven't done anything. Tone, okay, can we agree? Just because you're single doesn't mean that you just got to go on dates. Like, all your friends could go on dates. I don't mean you got to just go on dates. Like, how about I'm good just being single? Well, the Golden State Warriors, I think that they made their big move with Jimmy Butler. I don't think people want Golden State to do something more than they want to trade. They want to trade Kuminga because they think that they're getting another big piece for him. That's what they think is happening, and that's not the case.
If they were getting another big piece for him, he would have had someone would have signed him to a
That's not happening, right? That's not happening. How about you do this? How about you do this, Carter Bryant? How about you get on your page and you go talk about Joker declining his extension? How about that? Because we're talking about something else right now. But like I said, Tone.
Oh, we got breaking news. Kelly Olynyk has been traded to the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, keep going.
As you were saying. Anyway, so they want Jonathan Kuminga traded because they think that that's going to bring in Giannis. Like the Milwaukee Bucks are going to hand you over Giannis for Jonathan Kuminga.
That makes complete sense.
No, they're not doing that. Absolutely not. Because the Warriors are so spoiled, rotten. Warrior fans are so spoiled, rotten because you had Curry, you had Clay, and you had Dre, and you were good. And then you end up getting Kevin Durant for those years, and then he's gone, and then you retool. Andrew Wiggins turns into an all-star, and you win the NBA championship. Yo, we back up. That's when it was time to blow it up. But I remember Steve Kerr telling us earlier this year, Tone, that he had the best rotation. This is the deepest team that he's had in.
So you think? So you just think they're good, just as is.
With Jackson Davis, with this kid Post. I mean, they end up losing Looney. I think that they're banking on both Post and Jackson Davis at the 5. They got buckets. I think they lost Moody too. Not Moody. I'm sorry. What is the kid? Melton. Not Moody. I'm sorry. They lost Melton.
Drake.
Yeah, they lost him. With that being said, I've been thought that this Warriors team was over. I've been thought that, Tone, when they won a championship in 22 and they ran it back. I thought this Warriors team was over. If it wasn't for the trade of Jimmy Butler, they're not making the playoffs this season that just passed. If it wasn't for if it wasn't for the trade that got Jimmy Butler to the Bay, they're not making the playoffs this year. They're not.
They're gonna have trouble. I think them losing. They lost Looney and someone else that I'm drawing a blank on. But
so they lost Looney. They lost DeAnthony Melton. Let's see.
Lost, but
yeah, they lost Looney. They lost DeAnthony Melton. They kept Buddy Hield. In addition to keeping Buddy Hield,
I just think in the West that they're going to need. Oh, Gary Payton II. There you go. Thank you.
Yes, they lost.
So who do you think? And just because of time, because I want to give people time to come on, and I know that you have a hard stop at 10 o'clock, so you can go do playback the G League game, Lakers and whoever. If you had to pick one team that had the best offseason so far, who was it?
I thought it was Denver until
Valanciunas decided he wants to play in Greece.
That he wants to go to Greece. Yeah, I thought it was I thought it was Denver because I felt like they filled up every last hole that they had in their rotation. They ended up with Bruce Brown. They ended up trading for Cam Johnson. They got more athletic on the wing. They got Bruce Brown back. They got Cam Johnson. They got their backup 5-man in Valanciunas. And
if he stays,
If he ended up staying, you got Peyton Wallace. You got Strawther, who's going to get better.
Please don't forget my friend.
And your friend
Tim Hardaway Jr.
And he ended up bagging Tim Hardaway Jr. I felt like everything that was necessary for them to. I felt like everything that was necessary in order for them. That was a need for them. I'm sorry. I felt like everything that was a need for them. I felt like they addressed it, and that includes like with the Rockets. Even though the Rockets, they got KD,
the best player of everybody, right? Like, yeah.
I think they got the best player, sure. No doubt about that. And the fact that they were able to hold on to Sengun, Jabari, Tari, and Amen Thompson, that's a big deal.
All of those are right. And the only reason, I don't mean to sound like a contrarian, but the only reason I always bring up this team is because of what it allowed them to do. I think the Bucks had the best situation for them in the short term, because by waiving and extending Damian Lillard, they got to do all those other things, right? So say what you want about Kevin Porter and Miles Turner and them re-signing Bobby Portis and re-signing I'm going to forget his name, Gary Trent Jr. Like all of those, none of those things happen. Not if they keep Damian Lillard and that $54 million for this year, none of that stuff happens. And if none of that stuff happens, it's a lost season. And I believe in my heart of hearts, if they went into the season doing nothing, Giannis is out. And I mean, like, before the season starts, he's out. And I think he's sitting at this team, and he might not be saying, oh my God, this is a championship team, but I think they can sell him on, listen, Kevin Porter, Gary Trent, Miles Turner, we got Bobby Porter, like, we got a squad. Like, we upgraded Brooke Lopez, got you a younger, more athletic version of him, right? Move his feet a little bit more, just because, Lopez was getting a little long in the tooth. Like, we've given you now an option to compete in what is going to be a very winnable East, right? When you think of Cleveland, that's the one team that came back healthy. The Knicks have a new coach who hasn't proven he can win a championship. Good coach, two-time coach of the year, Mike Brown, but there's going to be something there. We just doubled Indiana's pain because they lost their starting point guard and we took their starting center. So now Indiana's should be a lesser team than they were last year, even though they're deep. And so, yeah, Orlando's there, but they're young. Like, you can, Boston's out of the mix. Like, you really, there's something you could sell him to stay at least another year, which if he goes, I think that hurts them, obviously, ticket sales, like everything. So that's why I say they won from a business, standpoint. Yeah. Are they going to be the best team on the court? No. Oh yeah, Detroit. Thank you, Johnny. Yes, Detroit. Detroit, with everything that happened with Malik Beasley, to still kind of walk out and say, hey, we got Karis LeVert, we got Duncan Robinson, like we got, we resigned some of our own guys. I think they did well too. Absolutely, that is definitely worth mentioning. The last thing, and it's only because I'm going to bring it up because we keep not talking about it. And again, we're going to be quick, but you said you wanted to talk about this. And as we talk about it, guys, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Mm-hmm. You said last time when I kind of flashed this to you, said, "Oh, we got to talk about this."
Yeah, we do.
So what about this was like, we got to talk about it?
Well, I just need to understand. I mean, I do understand that the NBA is protecting their brand. I 100% understand that, because the last thing that the NBA needs, especially with their best players, is to have a drug scandal.
100%.
That's the last thing that they need, is a drug scandal. Now, if we have a testing charade, like if the drug I already know what the drug policy is, right? But if the testing system is,
do you know the drug policy?
I have an idea. I'm not. Let me rephrase that. I'm not fluent in it, but I do. I do
you want to be?
I would love to understand.
It's actually really simple.
Yeah, it is.
Every player in the NBA can be tested up to 4 times. Now, when up to is the key word, meaning 0 to 4.
Yep.
Okay? They can be tested 0 to 4 times.
Sure.
Randomly, random people, random tests.
So it doesn't have to be at a specific time. It could be anytime.
Anytime during the season. Sure. 0 to 4, because everyone says 4. Like Gilbert Arenas came on and said they get tested 4 times. No, 0 to 4.
Yep.
And the problem is, that's for urine, and urine really only finds steroids, and nobody in 2025 is taking steroids.
No,
they're taking HGH. They're doing EPO. And none of those things can be discovered through.
We can't find that in urine.
So that's out. They can randomly test 0, because it says up to 0 to 2 times for blood. However, that can also be masked by other drugs. Those 2 things, HGH and EPO, can be drugged by those things, can be covered, and it's very specific in when you test versus when it was done. It's so difficult to do that. So that's their policy of testing. Here's where the problem comes in, both with let me just stick with the NBA first, and then I'll do the USADA first. Let me stick with the NBA. Here's where the problem is. It's random, and they never tell you who's tested. Mm-hmm. They never tell you what they tested for, because of those 0 to 4 and 0 to 2 tests, they don't always test for everything. So they could literally I test for cocaine. Well, that's great, but that tells us nothing about anything else. So they don't tell you who got tested and what they got tested for. So that's why we say it's a charade, because, well, if there's no transparency, then anything goes.
Right.
Now, so let's go back to the USADA. The USADA shows you how many samples they took from players at the Olympics each year. Okay, so you can see in 2024 at the Olympics, LeBron James they took one sample. Was that sample tested? Don't know. What was that sample tested for? Don't know. Was it blood or urine? Don't know. And they'll never tell you. Oh, by the way, the USADA doesn't even test it themselves. They send it out to be tested, and they've admitted that some of the samples get contaminated, and they can't test them. How many of those have been contaminated? Do not know. So even though they tell you, hey, they took 5 samples. In 2016, they took 5 samples from, and I'm using LeBron as the example because that's one everyone knows, but I'm not picking on him. This is much bigger than one player. However, they took 5 samples in 2016. Were they urine? Don't know. Were they blood? Don't know. What were they tested for? Was it drugs? Was it, because in there it could be just for weed, because that you can't do that. Right, we saw what happened to Shakari before she was going to run her 100-meter. They pulled her out because she
was in the Olympics,
because she smoked some weed, which doesn't make you faster, by the way. But you don't know. Maybe that's all. You know none of that, and they will not tell you. So it doesn't. All it does is make more questions. And my thing is, if you really wanted to speak the truth, just tell us. If you don't, then hey, we don't have a drug policy. That's it. Done. I almost lost my glasses. The exposer, I'm sure, is going to come up and expose me about something. So let's. What?
Peace and blessings. Why do I got to be the exposer? Why can't I just be a friendly gentleman?
Because that's who you are. What are you talking about? You are the exposer.
Well, okay. Well, since you mentioned it, yes, the NBA does blood test their players twice a year during the regular season and once during the offseason.
Incorrect. They do. No.
That's how Tristan Thompson got caught.
No, they randomly test up to 2 times.
No,
don't mislead the people. They randomly test up to 2 times, which means 0, 1, or 2 randomly. Not everyone.
Players can be randomly blood tested for HGH more than twice during the season and once in the offseason. It doesn't say up to. They get tested.
So they can be tested. That doesn't mean
they are randomly tested twice.
More than twice. So it's mandatory. I got to submit to it. So
that's why Gilbert Arenas said they get tested 6 times, because they get 4 urine tests and 2 blood tests.
It's randomly up to. It is randomly up to, confirmed with NBA executives.
I'm looking at it here, but again, that I didn't call for that. I didn't want to talk about that. You just said that right there. But the players are now the Olympic stuff is probably different. I don't know about that. That's something that's beyond my scope. But
all I'm saying is, if you really want to know, just publish. This is who was tested. This is what we tested for. This is what we found. That's it. And I'm okay.
I don't think they have to do that. I think that if there's a drug issue with a player, it's not our issue to know about.
100% it's our issue. If you're going to say we run a clean and you're going to promote this, for me, I don't want to know. I don't want to know if I'm running $1 billion industry. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
No, I mean, players got in trouble. Players get in trouble all the time for it. So
they do.
Not the big ones.
Because the big ones ain't doing nothing. the big ones don't have to do it. It's the ones who need to stay in the league that's doing it, like Tristan Thompson. You see what I'm saying? So if you're Stephen Curry, you're KD, you're Joker, you don't need that.
I know that I'm a target, so I know I don't want to get myself caught up in none of this nonsense.
No, man. Yeah, it's not for those guys. But I wanted to talk about the KD stuff because I thought that was as all 3 of us are content creators, right? Sure. We all would love to have someone like KD, right? A star power like him, right? But the thing was, it's like it's hard to say, okay, especially because you want to promote it, right? You want to say, okay, he's going to show up. You can't control if he shows up. That's the sad part. You see what I'm saying? Like you really can't. You know, and if they would have never said anything, if they would just say, hey, another PC panel, and then he did show up, it probably would have been a great, opportunity. But again, it's hard to do what we do. And that's why I always tell people it's not easy to do it. It's really not.
It's interesting that you say that, because I think one of the things, if I heard correctly when Swiper was reading the text messages, was, yeah, I'll pull up another time, but we don't need to make it a big deal and promote it. That's why I again say I think he was ducking smoke, is because oh, he just wanted to slide in, say his piece, and then leave, like he did with Lowe, where he just popped up out of nowhere, spoke his mind, and then left. Right? Like, I think that was part of the problem, is that it was promoted. And we've done both. Like when we had, and there's positives and negatives to your point. Like when we had Shaq on the first time, we promoted it last minute a little bit, but we promoted it and everyone was like, you guys lying. This is clickbait.
You know, it took 45 minutes. He didn't show up.
He was late. He was sitting there watching the NCAA tournament and he was like, oh, I forgot, my bad. And he tried to blame you for sending him a bad link. And the second time he came on, we didn't promote it at all. And he just popped on and we talked because it was in the middle because we didn't know. He came on at halftime, I think.
He was doing Inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA. Yeah, so you could see him. He was backstage doing his, and it was like, but I still think we got the same amount of people were automatically like, oh my God, Shaq's on, and they rushed over.
Yep.
So I think, you know, maybe that was it. Maybe he just felt intimidated that it was being promoted a little too much. I don't know.
I know maybe there was a miscommunication between what was his purpose of coming on and not coming on, because he may, again, I don't know who set it up with him, but again, like I said, that's the difficulty of being a content creator, because we're not really journalists. That's another thing I wanted to talk about you guys were saying the type of questions you ask these guys as the content creators that we are. We're more like, I always tell people I equate it to radio, sports radio. We are the replacements of sports radio. We're not really journalists. We're like fans. Instead of being the local radio guy talking about the local teams with the local fans, we have a more broadened scope. We're more global because we're on YouTube, right? We have we could talk more than just the local teams. But I equate what we do as content creators more to that, like radio sports talk. We don't have the obligations of a journalist.
I do a little journalism too, but
I know. No, yeah, Fluent, you wear many shoes, many hats. I
hold the line, but I'm with you.
You see what I'm saying?
I enjoy the entertainment.
I do have some training in journalism also. I'm not an actual journalist, but I do have some training in journalism.
Okay, but again, I still as content creators for YouTube, I do believe we're more fans and we talk the game as fans, and I think that's what KD doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to really talk it the way the fans talk it. The meme you brought up.
He doesn't like the way the fans talk about the game.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to tell Lowe, right? It's the way we talk the game. Everything is about rankings, right? Everything is how you rank somebody, comparing players instead of just talking the game. And PC does,
by the way. Jeff, I wanted to do that, by the way.
I know you do, but you got to remember, you're surrounded by a bunch of dudes who most of them don't do it. You get guys like Jordan and Penn up here who just want to just compare players and not really talk the game. You know, perfect example. When I said Anthony Davis was a defensive liability and not a good defensive anchor, the first thing they wanted to go to comprehend my statement with all the basketball knowledge and all the things that I dropped about basketball within the lines of the game, they had to ask, is he better than Joker? Like, that's not the conversation. You see what I'm saying? Just like with the peak season that we just showed up here recently. These are silly conversations that the players don't want to get involved in. You know what I'm saying? When you have a T-Mac on, you don't ask T-Mac, who's your GOAT? You know, you ask T-Mac, like how I asked you the other day, how difficult is it going left to try to pull up for a mid-range from the elbow or going right? You know, it's things like that is what they want to talk about. They want to talk about the game, not how we rank players. And I think that we fall into this idea of ranking players too much, which they don't really, they're not interested in.
Ranking, and I listen, and that's where you talk about where we have to toe the line. Mm-hmm. Ranking players is what people want to see, and that's what they'll engage with. And as creators, we have to do that because that gets the most engagement. At the same time, we'd rather talk about the game and talk about, like, I don't care who's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. However, I do want to talk about, who's a better fit and how this play, developed. We do like to do that stuff, but you know this. If you did a ranking and then an X's and O's, which one gets more engagement?
To be honest with you, with GOAT James Kingdom, what gets the most engagement is me yelling and screaming.
Same thing with Tone. What gets Tone the most engagement is when we talk about LeBron, and he don't like talking about LeBron. Just so you know,
no, but I think
talking about him.
But I think that as guys,
I know you don't believe this, but Jay knows me very well, right? So you believe when he tells you. I don't like doing LeBron James stuff, but if you go look at my IG, and I get 100, I get 1,000 views on this. And then the second I say something about James, it's like 10 million. How can I not do that?
Now I got to talk about it.
No, I get that. No, again, you said when you're creating. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
But when we have the shows like we have here, like I tell people, when I do my show, I do my research. I take my time to bring content that's predicated on understanding the game better, not just me. Just like I said, I'm just not some dude just want to hear just rant and yell for an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? So I think as guys that like us, we just need to take the responsibility to not take the ESPN route, but try to take the route of mind the game. The way LeBron sits down with, like, that's talking basketball. I think we can do more of that. And if we do more of that, players would like us more. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think we do that, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
All right, just because he's got to go to playback in 10 minutes.
No, I know.
I'm going to bring on the.
No, peace and blessings, brother. Thank you
Good
for
to talk
bringing
to
me
you,
up.
Jay.
Appreciate
Always. Peace, brothers.
Hey, next time, because it's not going to be that long. Next time I'm in Miami, like, we should all grab a bite. Eh?
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great.
I saw you two do the statue unveiling thing.
Yeah, that was dope.
When I saw that statue, that was ugly as hell, by the way. But we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it.
Biscayne in June, ladies and gentlemen. Biscayne in June.
Thank you, brother. All right, the big.
What up?
Yo.
What up?
What's going on? I just want to. This is an off topic. It's like an off question, but I just want to ask because I haven't watched too much basketball. I watched a little bit of the playoffs. I saw Tatum get hurt. I saw Halliburton get hurt, and I wanted to ask because I heard KG and Paul Pierce talk about this. I know, Fluent, you say this is probably the best era of basketball in your opinion. It is a much faster-paced game. The game is more wide open. And obviously the game changes throughout eras. We've had a slow pace, faster pace, medium pace. But what KG was saying is that because of how fast this era is, dudes are not in shape to keep up with the pace. Because dudes are not in shape to keep up with the pace, they're more prone to get injured, like Halliburton did, and how Tatum. Because he was saying he looked at, if you look at even how Kobe, Tatum, and Halliburton.
Yep.
I think how they all got injured off a pump fake, and once they planted that heel to like take off, I think even they planted the heel. They had that like pop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And so what he's saying is, with a lot of players, the way training and the way people train, they do 30 minutes, one little trainer. They don't work out their legs. You see a lot of NBA dudes, even like a lot of bodybuilder dudes. Yeah, dudes get they get joked around because they have such a bigger upper body, but they have small legs.
So let me address a couple of the points there, because I have a guy, the article that I showed about the drug testing, who also did an article about this, who's a friend of mine. So he kind of gives me some insight. And so a couple of things you mentioned are they're true, but they're also misleading. So yes, the pace is faster, but it's not faster than it's ever been. Like we've had,
like in the 60s, they played with a way faster pace.
I will say I am someone of. I was born in 2000, but I try to learn as much as I can from you guys, especially y'all, because I know y'all have seen more. So I'm just trying to understand. Yeah, I'm just a casual.
But that's fine. Not all casuals are the same.
I want to learn as much basketball as I can, because I want to get into it as a profession. I want to get into it, but I'm just trying to learn.
I'm going to give you 4 points. I'll just quickly go through my 4 points, and then I'll let you guys finish. So here's the 4. 1, the pace was faster in the 60s, and the pace in which they played wasn't in today's pace. What they're saying, it is faster than it's been like in the 90s and 2000s. However, it's more 3-point line to 3-point line, whereas the 60s played faster pace, and it was rim to rim, because they were shooting threes, right? So even though it's faster, it's a shorter distance that they're traveling.
It makes a lot of sense.
That being said, they were wearing Chucks, but they were high top Chucks, and there is something to say about the shoes that they're wearing. So it's a combination of all these things I'm about to say. To your point, that step back that they do, so I'm going to use my glasses as an example. So when they step back, anytime the heel to the leg goes less than a 48-degree angle, that is when we've seen all those Achilles pops.
Yeah, because that's all they did. Off the pump, and then that heel comes down to take off.
When we see that step back motion and then the forward lunge, that less than 48 degree puts so much pressure on your calf, which it's the calf.
And that's what KG was saying. These dudes, they never take care of the calf. And once you don't take care of the calf, everything under it, your Achilles and all these things, they're gonna go weak because you don't have support.
Yep, they need, and that's the other thing is they do. The shoes have something to do with it too, because if they're high top, or if they wear a brace or whatever, it limits that angle that the Achilles can go, and it will help. It doesn't cure it; it'll still happen, but it is better. So if you condition and train, have the high top, do like there's a lot of things you need to do. Don't go out. Listen, when you have a calf strain, don't go out and play. Like, did we not learn anything from AD and Halliburton and all these guys? Like, they all had calf strains. Sit down. I get it. It's the NBA Finals. I get it. But
you know what? But you know what it is though. I feel like how you got like how the I forgot his name that was up here before me. I feel like a lot of fans and even the ESPN casual fans, they might see a problem with a player taking that time to sit down, to step back, or to help themselves.
Yeah.
Because obviously, yeah, we want to see them, but if they're not like, I feel like load management needs to be looked at a bit differently. Because I know there was a whole talk in Kawhi and Toronto and the Clippers.
Well, this isn't a load management thing though, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save my investment. I don't know if you remember this, but last year Giannis had a calf injury, and the Milwaukee Bucks we are parking you because what we're not going to do is not only are we not going to lose you for this year, we're not going to lose you next year too. Because Giannis's game is predicated on athleticism and flight. He tears that Achilles, that especially at this age, that could have wrecked.
Oh yeah, he's done. Yeah, he's done. He's done.
Wrecked him. So no, we're not doing that.
And I don't mean to be rude, but we have 4 minutes left, and because he's got to go.
No. Thank you. God bless you. I just want to get y'all opinion on it. Thank you very much.
Let me jump back on again. I'm going to try and do this earlier next time. But anyways, I appreciate you, man. For sure. Appreciate Lou, my guy. What's up, brother?
What's going on? If y'all ain't said, I'm gonna be the first to say it, bro. The whole Kevin Durant situation, man. I think, man, you already know how I feel about Kevin Durant, man, and this ain't got nothing to do with the Brooklyn Nets. That fifth session that him and Steve Nash was doing on whatever that show that LeBron was doing, I had no interest in that. I just wanted to get y'all overall thoughts.
It's good stuff, Leaf. Like I think you'll enjoy it because you'll hear some really good basketball talk if you did watch it. Right. If you because I did the same thing. Like if you put the nonsense aside and you actually sat down and listened to them dudes, like they talk hoops. And it's real hoops talk. And that's what I'm here for. That's all I was here for. I wasn't here for nothing else except that. I was here for the hoops talk. And that's what them dudes was doing. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Showtime, I'll be honest with you, bro. I mean, it probably is. I'm not negating that, but but that's what I got you for. That's what I got Players Choice for. Y'all feel like y'all have been the representation, bro, of that for the last couple of years. Fluent, you too. I ain't knocking that out.
Thanks.
Y'all have been the representation for the last part. I could give a damn what these players got to say realistically because there's a lot of fibbing going on in and out, bro, like in and out of the conversations. So that's my whole thing with that. But I actually hoping that they do come on the show, man, because I'm gonna be banging up the chat. You already know I'm gonna have a lot to say. I was actually waiting.
I might get my first super chat.
I was actually waiting on the sorry ass to pop up, man. Like you should have seen me in the chat. Oh, I was waiting the whole damn time.
I was excited. I thought I was.
Excited. Oh, I was excited. You was, man. I was ready.
Can I ask you?
I was a different type of ready.
Jay, can I ask you a question? Because when Ron started the show, and he was like, "Yeah," and he was doing. Did you know that he wasn't coming at that point?
Until Swiper said that he wasn't coming.
You thought he was coming. So when Ron was like, "Yeah, it's a big show," you thought, "Yeah, KD's coming."
KD's gonna be here. I was excited about
it. I'm with Chill, bro. I thought he was gonna be there all the way to Swiper put the message out, and I was ready. I was ready to throw like at least $50 of super chats if I needed to, bro. Like on that day, I don't give a damn.
I want you to know Sunday night when I do NBA Max, I said I don't think he's coming.
Oh wow!
This was the night before.
The night before on Sunday night, yeah. I said I think it was all set up. First of all, I said because I know KD knows Dell and knows Shaq and knows Swiper, and I'm like, this beef didn't come out of nowhere. I go, they set this up as a publicity stunt, and I don't think he's showing. And then
I thought he was.
I'm with Chill. I thought he was well on his way, man.
He wasn't coming. That was a surprise to me. I was like,
the one thing about y'all, and then when I mean y'all, I mean Players Trust, because that's how I found you two gentlemen. But The one thing about it, man, y'all mean what y'all say. Y'all say what y'all do. Y'all mean what y'all say.
Not according to Bobby, I'm on the fence about a lot of shit. Like I don't stand on my nuts, and you know,
Yeah,
I
mean, what? No, chill. I mean, listen, chill. I get on you a lot of times about your takes and all that crazy shit, man. Like, I mean, what person that's 52 years old don't say no stupid shit every now and again, bro? Like, it is what it is.
Hey,
but I'm not going to get on you for that. I realize it ain't no reason to pick on the elderly, man. They old for a reason.
No, we ain't doing that. No, what's not going to happen is you're not going to have me like relax on him because he old. No, if I say something wild, I ain't just saying it. The stuff that I say when I say it, I believe it. Now, if I'm wrong, I will apologize. You know what? I was wrong for that. I got to walk that back. But the stuff that I stand on, and it turns out that I'm right, then I'm right. But stuff that I believe that John Stockton, when he was at his best, is better than SGA when he had his best. I believe that. Yes,
I got a different resolve. I got a different resolve when it comes to Chilltown saying shit, but because he said so much and he's so, I guess, quote unquote, internet famous, bro. Like, it's just a lot of the shit that he say. I don't really have time to get back at him on that. I leave that up to other people. But I do enjoy all the content and I do enjoy all this stuff. But I wanted to get y'all thoughts on the last bit of free agency, because Cam Thomas didn't get a deal yet. The restricted free agents, as a matter of fact, because Cam Thomas, Josh Giddey, Kuminga, and somebody else, Quentin Grimes, is out here looking for some big money, and they don't look like they're getting it.
I think the issue with those guys is that there's a lot of teams that would like them, but those are the teams that are good because they figure there would be a good piece to kind of push them what they think over the top. And those good teams are so strapped by these, first and second aprons that they can't. They can't money that they want. And these guys are hesitant, like, I don't want to go sign with a bad team. And so they're kind of stuck in this limbo where good teams can't afford me, bad teams I don't want to go to. I think most of them just end up staying where they at.
And the respected teams that they want to stay on, they're like, just off the strength, I'm hearing Kuminga's demanded 35 mil. I'm hearing that Giddey wants 30 mil. I'm hearing that Cam Thomas wants 30 mil a year. This is a year annually, like salaries and stuff like that. So the market is not really contingent on these dudes getting that money.
That's why I think it's dope to send them out there to tell this is what you worth.
We'll see what
it's not like us. We not paying that. Go out there and find out because what we're not going to do is we're not going to overprice ourselves and bid against ourselves.
Someone did that, right? Wasn't Ayton? Didn't Ayton do that with Phoenix? And he was like,
Ayton did it for Phoenix,
and they just matched it because
go out there and find out what you're worth. Because I'm not going to pay you 40 if you only worth 25. I ain't doing that.
Nor should
I don't think we should neither, bro. But I think they only pulling this with the respected teams that they on because they know they can't get that high of a amount somewhere else.
I'm sorry, the Brooklyn Nets are not paying Cam Johnson $30 million. They're not going that highway.
I know that we're not paying Cam Thomas $30 million, bro. I try to tell this to most of my fan base because everybody is so in love with Cam Thomas and how he could score. I'm like, yo, we drafted 5 first-round picks. Hello, your eyes open? Your eyes here? Y'all here? So we drafted 5 first-round picks. If we miss on every last one of them, that's it. The GM, everybody that's involved in this session, they got to get the hell out of here. Yeah. Screw that, man. Like, so I mean, but that's my time, man. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
I'm out of New York after tonight too, man. I'm moving.
Later, NYC. That's Pops in the back.
I'm moving to Texas. Yeah. That's Granddad in the back. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We definitely talk about it.
I'm assuming Ralph is the last to join. Ralph, just so you know, your mic and cam are neither one is connected, so I am unable to bring you on because neither one is connected. Oh, there it is. Just in time. I was about to say, let's call it a show.
What up?
Hey, what's up? What y'all, man?
What up?
What's up, man? So first off, Chill. I seen somebody tweeting about you the other day. I've been watching y'all about like 3 years now. You know what I'm saying? You and Mars. Fluent Chill too. You more old school. Chill came to our side with it. You know what I'm saying? But y'all be making points. But a lot of stuff I disagree with. Like, Chill, you said Shaq. You said something about Shaq being your cousin or something, right?
I didn't say that, but yeah, he is.
Well, close.
Shaq said that.
Oh, Shaq said that. Oh, okay, well,
because he is. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, about KD, I don't think he was ducking. I don't think he was ducking because he goes on a lot of shows that tend to disagree with him, and make points. I don't think he was ducking. I was looking forward to listening to him. For him to talk ball, for everyone to get whatever they had to get out. But honestly, I don't think it's much of y'all being trolls. It's just sometimes people don't like the fact that y'all just it's like y'all take it out on KD all the time. Every time you got something to say, it's like KD this, like Ryan said, he's not a top 10 generational player in his generation. It's like, come on, bro.
From 2002,
hold on, he said he's not top 10 in his generation.
From 2000 up until now, Ron ran down 10 players that he thought was better than KD.
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Like
that's a little
no way in the world. That's crazy.
Yeah, Ron ran down 10 players.
And I have KD ranked lower than most, and I think that's crazy.
It ain't 10 players from in the last 25 years better than KD. No, it's not.
Right.
He said Dwayne Wade.
No.
Yeah, he did. He said Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
but anyway, I'm not over on your side. I'm not on I talk basketball. That's what I do, right? More than anything. I talk basketball. And I know it ain't 1987. I understand that part. But I also know that today in 2025, there's plenty of people who don't know a lot of basketball. Just because there's so much more information, you guys should know more information than you guys should know more basketball than you do.
But I think the problem there, Jay, is, and I know you got to run, so I apologize, Ralph. We're going to cut it a little bit short because we're over time and Jay's has another commitment. But I think the problem is there's so much information now that you can get bogged down and overwhelmed with just the last 5 years, the last 10 years. How are you going to go back and look 40 years ago when it's like, I got so much coming in just from the last 5-10 years. There's so much. Yeah. So that's why I end up sounding like this old head that only talks about the 80s and 90s. And I think it's the best when I've, again, repeated multiple times. I think today's the best because I think today's players are more talented, more skilled, and they can all do more stuff. Now, does that mean the older players couldn't do more? No, they weren't allowed to do more.
Right. I was just going to ask you, do you think that's because of digit skilled or because of the rules? Because now you have a gather 1-2. You didn't have that back in the day.
Well, I think coaches, I think back there had a lot to do with it as well, because they said, look, you're a big man. You need to stay in the post and do this. Mm-hmm. And even though a Jack Sigma, a Bill Lambier, a Paul McKeskey could shoot from the outside, they were like, no, I don't want you doing that. So they could only do it a little bit. Whereas now, if you had those players today that you thought sucked, and they were like, no, you can go out and shoot, do it. You'd see the guys would be able to change and adapt. And so that's why I appreciate the players and today, because they're allowing, a 6'3" point guard to score 25 a night. They're allowing a 7-foot cat to go out and shoot threes. Now, is it what I always want him to do? No, but they allow it to do that. So you can see how much versatility, like they never would have let Jokic bring up the ball and facilitate the offense. One guy like Sabonis, they let do, but I mean, he didn't even come into the league until he was washed. So it's just like, if they would have been more open-minded to allow these players back then to do what they're doing now, I think more than you think would be able to. And that's why I like it now, is because they're giving them the freedom to do stuff that they couldn't or wouldn't be allowed to do. Like, just imagine if when they got Magic in LA, imagine Jerry West stays on as head coach and forces him to be a power forward, because that's what he wanted to do, to rebound for Kareem and help Kareem out to, save his back. We never would have seen the Magic. We were so lucky that Jerry Buss was like, no, he wants to be a point guard. West, I'll let you leave. I'll bring in somebody else who allows him to be who he is. And we got to see Magic be Magic. Whereas he could have been, if he went to somewhere else, we would have been seeing him just rebound.
Could have ruined him.
It ruined him.
Could have ruined him. Good to talk to you, Ralph. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, for sure. I'll be in y'all next stream whenever that is. Man.
All right, next Tuesday, 8 p.m., brother. We'll see you then. All right. So I guess Carter Bryant didn't actually want to come up and have beef.
Denver,
Shockingly, everybody's in the chat, but not anybody's right here. That being said, I know you have to, if you're still on and you're still watching, once this stream ends, go to Player's Choice and check out the Lakers playback. But until then.
Y'all know where to find us at every Tuesday night. This is where we are. Me and my man Tony Tone on the Sports Fluent Network and the Chilltown Hoops Network right here on YouTube. This is where we'll be. We will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? I just seen my mother a couple of days ago. My brother's birthday was over the weekend. So we will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys.
You know, I ran into my mother at Costco yesterday.
Isn't that the best home? You just run into your moms in random places.
So mom and dad, mind you, but yeah, it was actually weird, but it was good to see them.
What you doing here? What's going on? I ran into my mother and father in the movies one time. Yes, they was out on a date and I didn't even know it.
You better leave.
Yeah, I'm 17 years old. I ran into my mother and father at the movies. Like, yo, what y'all doing? Same thing you doing here. What are you thinking about?
Go watch playback.
Later.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.